into matters financial and geopolitical from a frontier. Apologies for yesterday, but I had what's being called the man flu, but thankfully it didn't last too long. Let's move on to Africa. Putin's chef is now meddling across Africa. The secretive businessman known as Vladimir Putin's chef for his Kremlin catering work is alleged to have helped Russia seize parts of Ukraine, turn the tide in the Syrian war, and meddle in US elections. Now he's reaching deep into Africa with an army of mercenaries and spin doctors in tow to cash in on his newfound expertise. Yevgeny Prigozhin, a restaurateur from Putin's native St. Petersburg, has emerged as an unlikely point man in Russia's belated push to bolster its geopolitical might by rekindling Cold War ties across a largely underdeveloped region laden with untapped mineral wealth. Lacking the financial muscle of its main rivals, the US, Europe, and China, Russia is carving out a niche by shoring up strongmen in unstable but potentially rich states who have a taste for Russian weaponry. Prigozhin and his hodgepodge of contract soldiers and political operatives are offering security, arms training, electioneering services in exchange for mining rights and other opportunities. He's already active in or moving into 10 countries that Russia's military already has relationships with: DRC, Sudan, Libya, Madagascar, Angola, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and the Central African Republic. This spurt of activity comes as Putin prepares to host more than 50 leaders for the first Russia-Africa summit in 2019. It's an event that will cement Russia's active presence in the region. Low-profile nature of Prigozhin's businesses ensures some deniability for the Kremlin. The Russians want influence with governments, they want economic access, and they're much more flexible. That's their advantage, said Peter Pham, head of the Washington-based Atlantic Council's Africa Center. It doesn't cost very much to send a couple of hundred guys to shore up a president, indeed. Sanctions on Eritrea finally lifted. This is some input from Afshin Ratansi. South Africa staff concluding statement of an IMF visit. The link is there, but the quote that caught my attention is, "There is no room for complacency." South African oil share down 11.9% year to date. Dollar versus rand holding around the 14.0623 level. I just couldn't resist this photograph. Robbie Malinga Jr. I don't know who he is, but he says, "I'm an important person who always needs to be protected." Egyptian pound is at 17.91. Nigerian oil shares down 15.74% this year. Ghana Stock Exchange is up 2.61% this year. Mozambique banking outage wreaks revenue havoc for business. Mozambican companies are facing a collapse in revenue because of an interbank payment system outage that began last week. Retailers are seeing daily sales fall by as much as 90%, with restaurants and hotels suffering reductions of as much as 70%. Bank customers are having to wait in line for cash as a contractual dispute between the country's national payment system and a software service provider persists, rendering customers unable to swipe their bank cards or withdraw cash from automated teller machines. This is a photograph I took of Samora Machel in the Praca de la Independencia in Maputo. Business Daily's top stories: banks cut credit lines for struggling businesses. I said in an article, and I've said it severally, a sub-Saharan African economist has also got to be an accomplished meteorologist, because rains have an outsized effect on GDP and well-being. Good rains, I said, have underpinned the GDP in this part of Africa and popped it. And chart of the week from the World Bank is Kenya's rebound in 2018 is driven by a recovery in agriculture, indeed. Official foreign exchange reserves fell by $344 million in a month to hit the lowest level in 9 months. I wrote a piece on the 6th of November about the shilling. The Kenya shilling has strengthened this morning to 102.66. The Nairobi all shares down 15.92% year to date. Deacon's share price since listing. Take a look at this chart from Sunil Sangha. The NSE 20 is down 24.52% year to date, and the final link allows you to dial into any share price of the NSE. And thank you kindly for stopping by.